Hey up, this episode makes 5 Millennium Trash films in a row. What are you doing to me, Hard Gore? This is torture. Let's hope this one's not as bad. We are taking a look at Cold Grip, also known as Temptation. This is a 2005 direct-to-video horror film directed by Javier Barbera, or Barbera, something like that. And he's not really done much outside of a bunch of very, very lowly scored schlocky horror films, a lot of direct-to-video stuff. This though is his directorial debut, so let's see how he starts out, shall we? The film doesn't really star anybody of note. There's a guy called Alejandro Cardenas, I believe he's called, and he had a bit part in Gilmore Girls and was a voice in GTA 5. They're the biggest credits in this. The rest of it is just a bunch of unknown bit part actors, and that's about it really. This can't be worse than the last two. Judging by the cover though, it doesn't look great. Judging by what we've had to sit through recently, I'm really not expecting much from this. But it can't be worse than the previous two that we watched, can it? Can it? Let's get it over and done with, shall we? A woman hangs around an airport picking up guys so she can sleep with them and infect them with HIV. One of her victims isn't too keen on this though, so he kills her and some campers while he's at it. That's the plot. That is the entire plot to this film. It is one of the most bare bones things I have ever sat through. No joke, 90% of this film is made up with static cameras looking at awkward, stilted conversations that have no bearing on the story in the slightest. This is only a 78-minute film, but I don't think there is enough substance in this to comfortably fit into a 10-minute short. I think still then it'd feel too long. Honestly, this film has no redeemable qualities.
No, just get it. So where you
The acting is, as you can imagine, completely atrocious. It's awkward and stilted, and it feels sort of like A-level drama performance. It's like, we know the lines, and we can deliver the lines, but we can't do it in a convincing way where you don't constantly think we're just acting, or even reading from a script when the camera's not looking at us. Also, I think most of the people in this don't have English as their first language. I think it's like their second language. It seems like a lot of Mexican or Spanish people in this. I don't want to just assume. There's an Italian girl in it. I don't know. But you can tell because outside of the accents, there's a lot of stilted turns of phrase and weird sentence structures and stuff like that, and it just adds to the awkward nature of the whole thing, to be honest. It takes 45 minutes for the gore to kick in this, and when we get it, it's very underwhelming. We don't really see much of it, it's cheap when we do, and then it's over in 3 minutes, and that's your lot for gore. Not worth the amount of time it takes to get to it, and not worth even purchasing a film for, to be completely honest. I mentioned that most of this film is just awkward conversations that don't forward the plot in any way. And I mean, it's painful stuff. It's like first date sort of stuff where it's the characters discussing what they do for a living, or how many siblings they've got, or things like that, how they earn the money and where they want to go on holiday. And it's like, this is the stuff in a competent film that is either montaged through where we see the first date through montage, or just cut out completely because it is completely pointless. And we just don't know why characters do what they do. We learn about them, but we don't learn about them in the context of the film. Like, why is this woman giving people HIV? I swear that is not explained in this whole film. And then also this guy who finds out he's got HIV. I keep worrying that I'm saying HMV, and if I do, I apologise. This guy gets HIV, and suddenly he just flips, and next thing he's renting out a warehouse to commit torture and murder. And it's like, well, how did we get from point A to point B? Show me some character development or something, some motive. Why? Did he have this in him beforehand, or is this a new thing that he wants to kill people? Then he goes after some campers, and it's like, well, why? Why are you wasting your time with this? It is incompetent. It's a mess. It is a complete mess. And the incompetency doesn't just stop at the characters and the pacing or anything else. Just the way the thing's made, it's lazy as anything. The camera's just plonked down and forgotten about. All the music sounds like stock music. It even gets a little noisy at points, and I thought, ooh, we're gonna get something, but it's so quiet in the background. For the gore scene, and you've got noise in it, blast it at me, you know, make me feel uncomfortable, make me feel something other than just fed up with the whole thing. And then on top of the sound, we don't have any sound effects for stuff in this, so things like punches or like attacking with a knife or a car crash has zero impact and just feels very off and cheap and weird. This has got to have one of the stupidest, laziest car crashes I have ever seen in a film before.
Talk to you for a second. Absolutely. I can help you. Well, how about you stop?
So I definitely say that this is an example of millennial trash, but it's sort of different to what we usually look at. It's got things like bad pacing, bad camera work, weird editing. It's shot on like early low quality digital by the looks of things. It definitely has elements of millennial trash, but I'd say that it's lighter on the millennial and heavier on the trash. It's less a reflection of the time in the way that people are portrayed, the groups, the sentiments of the time, and it's more an encapsulation of really bad filming practices of the time, I guess. Like the real shitty low budget stuff. This is a good example of the awful filmmaking that you can sort of see appearing as cameras got easier to access and things like that. So it is sort of its time in a way, but it's not quite the millennial trash that we're used to. It's not a nutbag or a maniacal or something like that. Now, there's not much information about this film online, as you can probably imagine. No Wikipedia page, no trivia section on IMDb. So I was looking for information, and I resorted to looking at the trailer on YouTube. And the comments on there, yeah, nobody really likes this film either. Yes, it is low budget, and yes, it is terrible. And that's about your lot really online. There's only about 4 comments as well. Nobody really cares enough to talk about it, I guess. Now, you've heard me say this a lot throughout many series, as I'm sure. The film that I'm covering is the worst film I've ever seen, and it sounds hyperbolic. I'm not being hyperbolic in this instance. This film, along with the previous 2 films, are 3 of the worst films that I have ever sat through in my life ever. And I've sat through some absolute shit in my time. I've watched all the Bad Ben films. These 3 are soulless, lifeless, confusing, badly made, just the worst examples of early 2000s schlock, and just schlock in general. Like, even Dead of Night wouldn't look at this sort of stuff. It makes the Dead of Night actually look like a decent collection. Vipco, they wouldn't touch it. Agfa, my god, I'd rather watch Jungle Trap or Sister Street Fighter again than this. Absolute. It is so bad. Absolutely some of the worst stuff I've ever had to sit through. Okay, time for the print. It's okay, it's fine. It's a little low quality. I'm guessing though that it looks like this was shot quite low quality, so I think it's just how it looks, this film. There's a few glitches here and there, a few like sort of stutters that I noticed, but outside that it's fine. It's fine. And on the disc, same old shit. Chapter select, trailers for this, and Hard Gore trailers. That's your lot. Okay, case time, and this case looks just like Poundland trash. How fitting, because it is Poundland trash, this. It's really focusing on the gore on the back, which, I mean, how misleading can you get with that? As I said, there's 3 minutes of gore in the whole damn film, and that is all that's on the back. Misleading. The information is fine though, nothing really bad to say on that. These white spines though, I think they're going to be the death of me. But there's not many more, I don't think. I can't wait to not watch another white spine again. Lastly, we get a Poundland leaflet. Not had one of these for a while. Overall then, this has nothing going for it. It fails on all fronts and turns into one of the most boring, pointless, terrible things I've ever had the discomfort to sit through. Absolutely not worth your time, wasn't worth my time. You do not need this in your life. Avoid it at all costs. Do not bother with this film. It is... I can't stress how bad this film is. I had a headache watching it. Not at the start, but just throughout, because nothing was happening. I have to pay attention to see if anything weird happens, and focusing on something as boring and dry as this, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. If for some reason you're masochistic and you want to give this a go, this and a Street Collection version is your lot. I doubt this is ever going to get a Blu-ray release, but you never do know. Vinegar Syndrome might put it out or something, but I hope it isn't going to get a Blu-ray release or anything. I mean, if you search it on Amazon, it just comes up with gloves. So, one of the worst, yet again, awful, awful, terrible, terrible film. I wonder if it's going to get any better next week. We're moving away from Millennium Trash finally, and we're dipping into the 90s. For better or for worse, who can tell, but judging by the case, and of course the white spine, lucky us, you never can be too careful. Next episode, we are going to be taking a look at Psycho Sisters.